new fallout in the very public feud between Elon Musk and President Trump. The tech billionaire is now making good on his threat to start a new political party after Trump's massive spending bill becomes law. Trump announced his America Party over the weekend, writing in part, Musk announced his America Party, writing in part, when it comes to bankrupting our country with waste, we live in a one-party system, not a democracy. Trump lashed out on Truth Social, accusing his ex-bestie of going, quote, completely off the rails and becoming a, quote, train wreck. Musk hit back by writing, what's Truth Social? So things have turned bad again for these two yet again. How worried are you about an Elon Musk political party?
Well, Abby, I think it'd be easier for Elon Musk to figure out how to get to Mars than it would be to start a new political party. The ballot rules in states are very complicated. This is yet another issue that's decided at the states. Whether your party can be on the ballot is subject to 50 different state laws. They're very complicated. In some places, they're dependent on what you did in the previous election running as an independent to get on the ballot for a future race. To be a viable party, you'd have to run for all offices. You'd have to run candidates for Congress, for Senate, for governor. And Elon Musk has a lot of money, and he's devoted a lot of money to politics. But if he starts a political party, there is a limit to what he can put in under federal election rules to that political party. So this is a very big undertaking, and I think he's probably blowing off steam.
Well, I am old enough to remember No Labels. Yeah. Do we not remember No Labels? And they did successfully get on quite a lot of ballots.
Yes.
And they did so largely because they had secret donors bankrolling the whole thing. It does take a ton of money, and he just has that. So, I mean, I would say this is not nothing, right?
No. Well, I think there's two different things we're talking about. We're talking about midterms, and we're talking about presidentials. So No Labels was the presidential race, and so they were able to get on ballots. And the fear was really on the Democratic side that would split the party. So if this was 2028, I think you would be more concerned. I do think, though, the amount of money that Elon Musk has that just can throw around, that is not just like backing a candidate, that can just be disruptive. And it seems like elections are so close in these days that 1 point could be a determining factor, and he has enough money to shave off 1 point. So I wouldn't just totally poo-poo it. I don't think that, as Deborah Cox says, how did we get here? Like, I think the breakup is final. I don't think they're coming back together.
No reconciliation.
I really don't. I don't think that they're going to be able to get beyond this. And I think it could play a part, not up and down the ballot, but in some key targeted, just to get under Trump's skin.
I mean, Trump later, he also sent another Truth Social saying, talking about Elon's friend who he wanted to run at NASA. He said he thought his friend was very good. I was surprised to learn he was a blue-blooded Democrat who had never contributed to a Republican. He said, I also thought it was inappropriate that a very close friend of Elon who was in the space business will run NASA when NASA is such a big part of Elon's corporate life, which is funny because people had asked Trump about this very thing several months ago, and he was like, no, not a problem. Don't worry about it.
I was at Kennedy Space Center last week, and I saw one of Elon's rockets get shot in space, and I was like, it was very cool, by the way. I highly recommend seeing it. And 3 days later, this guy's announcing a new political party. I'm like, dude, why don't you just stick with what you're good at? Like, I just saw that on Twitter. Like, stick
again,
with what you're...
This is sort of like Trump, because I remember, we would always talk about this, and Republicans would be like, yeah, let's put Elon in charge of flying planes. Like, let's put Elon in charge of every part of the federal government. And now, all of a sudden,
he's crazy.
Well, I do think he has gone a little off the rails. I don't think there's any doubt, given his tweet storm or X storm or whatever you want to call it, that he's done. But me as a Republican, I'm not worried. I mean, if you look at the Republican Party, they're more unified than they've been in decades right now. So if you're a Republican, it's not something I'm overly concerned about. If he wants to go off and do it, I'm sure there are plenty of political grifters that will love to sign on and make a ton of money off of that. They're telling him he's a genius right now for doing it, so they can make a ton of money. If he wants to go do it,
I mean, you're not wrong. Our friend Harry Enton pulled this number for us. 4% of all voters, this is Elon's potential base, they like Elon, but they don't like the Republican Party. That's, just for the record, that's a very small number.
Look at
it's not
the
a lot
fight
of
he had with the president. We know who won that fight. It was very clear. The president came out on top.
Some years ago, a Texan named Ross Perot decided to start his own party.
Did very well.
Yeah, did well.
18%.
18%. So, look, third parties, the history of third parties on the modern politics, it's difficult to go in. Either you're a Democrat or Republican. He does have a lot of money. Question is, where will those voters that go with that party go? When races are tight, 1 or 2% can make a big difference. And the question is this more directed at midterms for members of Congress or senators, or more directed at presidential race? But I was a Secretary of State, so I know exactly what you're talking about. Every state has some very, very particular type of rules to get on. So with a lot of money, you can overcome that. To do this in a midterm might be a little difficult. The next presidential, it might be.
Don't you think the Democratic Party, I mean, this is not just, frankly, about Republicans. I think what Elon is trying to say is that both political parties have disaffected voters who really don't like what their party is doing. So, I mean, even for Democrats, they're in the doghouse right now with their voters, frankly. I mean, is there a risk that he could siphon off some of those people?
Yeah,
too?
I mean, you just never know where those voters might come from. Yeah, because, there are people on the Democrats say, hey, Democrats, you need to fight harder and harder than what you're doing right now. Republicans, probably some of the Republican voters might think they maybe went over on some things because, look, both parties overreach. It happens. It overreaches. And the American public has a way of bringing back people to somewhere around the center.
I've been saying this, Abby, since before the election.
Yes, you have.
This is, I think we're approaching the end of the two-party system in America if parties don't self-correct.
Yes.
Voters are frustrated and their loyalty is no longer reliable. Am I thinking it's Elon Musk? I'm not sure. I mean, it's why we spent a week talking about who won the Democratic primary in New York, because you have parties like the Working Families Party that are starting to do recruitment and been in formation for 20 years. I'll just say, though, to close on this man had the keys to the kingdom. He had our data. He had everything we could imagine for over 100 days. And now we're saying he's a little unhinged.
That is a very important question. Let me play what Steve Bannon, who's no fan of Elon Musk, what he had to say about the whole situation.
The buffoon, Elmo the Mook, formerly known as Elon Musk, Elmo the Mook, a non-American starting an America party. No, brother, you're not an American. You're a South African. And if we take enough time and prove the facts of that, you should be deported.
Now, I'll give Steve Bannon credit for being consistent, because he actually has been saying this for a while. But otherwise, I would say that what is the most ridiculous about this is the idea that the people, as I was just saying to Lance, who 6 months ago literally thought Elon Musk could hang the moon, are now maybe saying he should be deported, maybe saying he's lost his mind. This, frankly, is what people hate about politics.
Yes.
I don't think Steve Bannon speaks for all Republicans or even a lot of them. But I think I'm personally glad Elon Musk is here in America. I'm glad SpaceX has helped save our space program. I'm glad Starlink is giving broadband to rural America where government fails. I'm glad he's here. I think that Ashley's right that he could make a difference in a few targeted races, but he would have to accept that he's going to be a spoiler, that his candidate's going to lose. And that is not something Elon Musk is going to be great at, I predict, is deciding he's going to lose.
I feel like he's okay with being a
Donald Trump
spoiler.
loses.
Well, yeah, I mean, maybe he's okay with being a spoiler because he's kind of like a little bit of a burn it down kind of person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's at least that's
I
what
mean,
he.
don't you guys
that's
all
what he
agree that
says.
Elon Musk played a significant role in 2024? So to think he wouldn't play a significant role regardless of who's
I wouldn't.
affiliated
Don't count him out of what anything he might try to do. But politics is a very new thing for him. As Lance says, he's good at rockets. He's brand new at politics.
Fair
All
enough.
right, guys.